How's it going, YouTube? We're back with another deck profile. Was requested. Brad's here with Alliance. How are you feeling the deck so far?
I think it's like almost there. I think it just needs maybe a couple more pieces. I think the deck works really well, but the lack of protection is a bit of an issue. I think it could be doing with a better top end. I don't think the Kirby's are really quite enough. But it's got a nice colour selection to go into good sevens. So I think I personally prefer the Vice because then it can go into things like Ports or FX. I think it gives you good versatility, and if they don't get bounced or bottom decked or whatever, then they should stick around for you to get to that level 7.
Yeah.
So I think it has a lot of potential. I think it will stick around for a while. I'm just hoping that Bandai do properly support it. But yeah, I played it at locals after testing it for a while. I think this is sort of very close to what I want the finished product to be, but not quite. I'll talk through the list that I played in the video, and then I'll explain sort of the changes that I'm going to be making coming up. Because I made a couple of choices that I've regretted. So I'll just get started.
Alright.
So the 4 of Tama is the Kokomon. It's designed for the deck and it gets you extra draws. You need to find those pieces. So it's just the sort of best one. And then there's the Mother D Reaper. I'm currently playing a 4 and 1. I've seen some people play like a 3 and 2. I've seen one absolute demon playing 4, but no. It's funny, and when it comes up, it feels like, oh yeah, this is brilliant. You know, I'm swinging with a 23k level 4. But if I was going to take this to a tournament, I wouldn't be playing the D Reaper. It's fun at a local level, but it's definitely not the consistent one. Because if you open with this the first turn, you're like, right, what am I doing? But turn 2 is great. If I could guarantee this is my second Tama every game, sure, I'd play it. Then on to the 3s, we're playing 4 of the new Terriermon, 4 of the Lopmon, 4 of the Terriermon Assist, and 2 of the Memory Block Terriermon. You really need to maximize your Terriermon names. I am playing also the 3 Calamon.
Oh wow.
Yes, I don't see 3s. I never see 3s. So this is why I'm cramming them in, and I still don't see them. But you really need, off of the Tamer, you need to have things to play.
Yeah.
But also if you just promote a Terriermon and slap down a Calamon for 1, that also works. It also, even if you do have the, raise 1, you've got 1 to play from hand for Henry in Suchong. Having this is also great because the extra 3k is very relevant when you're swinging your level 4, turning it into a 5. The extra 3k does matter. So I think you can't play any less than 4 of each of these. The 2 Terriermon is my sort of protest at me not seeing 3s, but the 3 Calamon I'm really liking. I think I want to see like 2 in a game, so I always go with however many I want to see plus 1.
Makes sense.
But you definitely don't want to see more than 1 of it at a time because then it can just clog your hand. If you don't see the Terriermon, it's just a 3 cost that's doing nothing in hand. If it's the only 3 you see, it's just terrible. Then on to the 4s, so it's 4 of the Terurimon, 4 of the Black Gargamon, and 3 of the Wendigomon. So these 4, I think, are the best ones. This one's sort of the choice. The adding back is nice, but I definitely think I would cut one of these, probably for the second quartz. I ended up cutting one of the quartz because I was like, oh, I can just add it back with Wendigo. But no, if it's in security, I would rather just be able to not have to rely on adding it back. But the 4 Black Gargo and the 4 Terurimon, they're great. On to the 5s, I've gone for 4, 2 and 2. So originally this was 4 and 4, but the playing a 3 at the end of your turn, especially if you're playing the Memory Blocker Terriermon, that can be really good. But it also can just ensure you have 1 more body that has a chance to stick around. The recovery, I don't think it comes up that often. because usually I'm wanting to swing with this, evolving it into something else. So it's really more for the inheritables. The -2k does come up, and the black rapid one, I do use the de-digivolve. If I'm swinging 4 and 5, I'm more often than not wanting to de-digivolve something rather than recovering. Because it tends to be early game when I've not had a chance to set up. In early game, de-digivolve rather than a chance at recovery, I just value that more. Then onto the 6s, so I've gone for a heavier Vice package than the Virtue. I think just ensuring it sticks around is really useful, and you do a lot of digging, so you get a chance to see this anyway, and I feel 2 is fine. It can be 3-3, I wouldn't argue with that really, but I prefer seeing this. It's the one that I want to say, yes, I want to keep guys on board for the next turn. The deck heavily relies on having 2 guys on board at all times, so just sticking around for next turn is great. If they bounce it or they bottom deck it or whatever, like, it's going to happen to this one anyway. Then onto the 7, so I'm currently only playing the 1 quartz. I had the brilliant theory that this would just be recoverable, so I could just keep adding it back. In reality, no, I would rather play the second one. I've also debated playing the Death X because I'm playing the heavier Vice package. I can evolve on the Cherubimon, and it has a higher chance of sticking around, so it becomes cheaper. I might mess around with 1 and 1. Because the deck does dig a lot, all of your level 3s, they just add a 2-color green card, so that's why the Death X is like...
I was going to say there's also the Ruin mode. I've seen some people running Ruin mode as their level 7, because the Vice package brings it back.
Yeah, we don't have Ruin modes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Somehow, me and Terry have just not found any Ruin modes. And if I had Ruin modes, I'd be going to Beelstar.
True.
Then on to the Tamers. I have 3 of the Shuchong. I would like to play 4, but you never really need more than 1.
Yeah.
I'm also playing 2 of the Mimi. Having a memory fixer is just really important. And it means if you have a 5 that's stuck around and you can just get that raise, bring it out from the raising area to have a second guy for free, that can be really useful sometimes. And lastly, I'm playing 2 green memory boost. I would like to find more room for these because finding your pieces is really important. And sometimes, if someone's not very nice and doesn't like you keep guys around, sometimes you do just need to pay 3 to slam something down to have another guy on board. So I am going to be fiddling around with it. It's probably cut the Wendigo for a second level 7. And then I don't know what I would cut for these. The deck's very tight. You do need to sort of maximise your pieces. Yeah, that's the deck list. I am going to keep messing around with it. So if I have any major revelations, I will update Andrew and we can do another deck profile. Hopefully we'll get some more gameplay as well.
Yeah, true. Also, any other shout-outs? Obviously, you a deck profiler yourself. I mean, this list was sort of an amalgamation of a lot of different people online. I had, Huang Zero is one of the ones that I think he's really good at deck building. Also to Marcio, he helped me with the deck list. He looks to future formats more than I do, so he's usually a good go-to for anything green future formatty. So he sent me a bit of a. He's not playing any of the 7s. He's playing like a lower to the ground list. Right.
I think it doesn't deal with big threats enough. That's why I was considering the Death X. But it's, Marcy was a good person for me to bounce ideas off of. And my other son Harry, because he is also there at times.
Yeah. Alright, anyone else, or are we good? Where can we find you?
Andrew first, having me on his chat.
True. Do you want to plug PGSC, or are you good?
Nah, I'm good. We do have a channel, PGSC, that kind of went dead while I was abroad for work, and we've not really revived it yet. One day.
So yeah, thanks Brad, always a pleasure.
Cheers.